Welcome to Movie Ruiners, a podcast about movies with brothers Nick and Reed Canada. Today we're joined by a special guest. He's the host of Tuesdays with Stories. He's also the host of We Might Be Drunk. His latest stand-up special, Out to Lunch, is up to 7.3 million views on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
Kevin Hart.
Hey, I'm here. Thanks for having me. Comedy. I love Nashville.
How was the show?
Amazing show. We did 3 last night, which will really run you ragged, but we did 1 tonight, which felt like a breeze, so I could really stretch out and fuck around. And
agree to podcast.
What's that?
Said agree to podcast.
Agree to podcast. You have no idea where you're going. That's one of the perks about being a man. Is like, we're gonna send you a car. I don't know where you're going. I'll go. You know. I think a lady has to be like, wait, whoa. I don't know where. Who are you? Are you gonna murder me? Women are always worried about getting murdered. I'm kind of like, let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think we'll have a lot harder time getting a female on our podcast.
Yeah. Good luck.
Well, Mark, right off the bat, we got a gift for you.
Oh, jeez.
I know growing up in New Orleans, you spent a lot of time skateboarding,
Wow.
so we got you the soundtrack on the record.
Oh, I love this game, and I used to play the soundtrack just for fun.
It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, the
Whoa.
first one. Who's your skater? Who's your guy?
I mean, I was a fan of, let's see, who was on this one?
I was going to guess Bob Burnquist.
No, I was an Andrew Reynolds guy.
Oh, yeah.
I like Jamie Thomas, and Chad Muska was a fun wigger. So, yeah, this is awesome. Thanks. What a weird gift. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Usually don't think Tony Hawk, let me get the record of this video game. But I'll take it. Thanks.
All the Tony Hawks have pretty good soundtracks.
Pretty good music.
What music were you listening to back then?
Well, I was a skateboard dweeb. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of ska and punk and like Rancid, shit like that.
I think I heard you say your first concert, or one of your first, was Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit. Not proud of it.
But I watched that Woodstock 99 documentary recently. I know there were some bad takeaways from it, but I was like, one of my main takeaways was like, that was a pretty crazy show. Like, I wanted to see Limp Bizkit a little bit.
Sure. I mean, at the time, that was like a hot ticket. It was like Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit, Rage Against the Machine, Offspring.
Yeah.
I mean, Korn sucks. And like ICP and all that shit I never got into. But, you know, Offspring's amazing. Green Day's great.
Mm-hmm.
I love that shit.
We're all 90. We're both 90s kids.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Are you guys look young?
Blossoms, like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, like Better Than Ezra. I can name so many, like,
love Better Than
one
Ezra.
hit. So the story I heard on Better Than Ezra, I don't know if this is not real or not, I just always heard it, loved it, was that they were at a open mic or something.
A talent show, a school
was
talent
it a talent show?
Yeah,
and this band performed that was terrible. And they're like, "What's y'all's name?" And we're like, "I don't know." And the band before them was Ezra. And they're like, "We're better than Ezra."
Whoa! Wow.
That's the story. Is that like? Have you heard that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna change my comedy name to Better Than Pauly Shore.
That's fitting.
He was here last week.
So, all right.
Uh-oh. Wait on. What are these gifts? I feel horrible. You don't have to get me shit.
Just give us your time.
Come on.
So this
What?
gift, I
This
just
is too
gave.
much.
I gave him a bottle of Jack Daniels, but it's a Barrel Select. So when we actually interviewed Sam, you were, I believe, in Houston testing out the Fat Cat Rise.
Yes.
So you know more about the picking out the barrels than I do. So
Wow.
this bottle was donated by Cabin Fever Beverages in Coleman. They're our buddies. They went and handpicked this bottle, and so But is that a pretty cool process?
This is amazing. Yeah, of course. It's super fun. I mean, we're clueless, me and Sam. So we went down to Houston, went to the distillery, tasted a bunch out of the barrel. It's a whole different game. And we picked the one we liked, and they're going to make it. But I got bad news. I can't bring this on a flight.
Oh, I can get it to you.
All right.
So I've already sent you a bottle. Yeah, the way it works, you have to around Christmas time you can say snow globes. I always say pickles or just any type of
Right.
Yeah. So and then also that's Barney.
This is unbelievable. Yeah.
We got Sam Mo. And Sam was like, "That's my favorite Simpsons character," which totally made sense to me.
He looks just like Mo.
And then Barney made sense to get for you. Y'all have the We Might Be Drunk pod, and you're burping all the time.
I'm a big burper.
Huge burper.
I get a lot of gruff for the burping. People hate the burping.
You would think Rick and Morty would desensitize people to burping by now.
They're like, it's not funny, shut up. And I'm like, all right. Well, I just got a burp. I'm not trying to be hilarious.
I'm a big burper too. Like I don't know. I relate to it.
This is so sweet. I mean, you guys didn't have to do that. I feel bad.
Well, it's like, so that, I think Cabin Fever put one of their little stickers in there for you.
Yeah, what is Cabin Fever?
It's just, it's an alcohol store in Coleman that one of our buddies runs, and they donated the bottle.
Hell yeah.
They're good guys.
Yeah.
Oh, they donated it?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Cabin Fever.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Man,
yeah,
this
if
is
anyone
beautiful.
deserves gifts, Mark, I think it's you. You've gone on so many random podcasts where...
Well, you guys are the first people to pay it back. That's nice. I've never gotten a gift in my life.
Well, we're noticing.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Jeez, and everybody told me to bail on this thing.
Got you another
Ah, Fusilli Jerry. Come on.
Yeah.
What is this? My Make-A-Wish?
thing. Had to hit there. Yeah, I just thought
Did
Seinfeld...
you make this?
No, I didn't. I didn't. It looks like it.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
Seinfeld, I
great.
know that was such a huge milestone for you getting to open for him. And
Huge.
I mean, just knowing him, that's must be crazy.
It's crazy. I have his phone number. I can give it out if you want.
Has it? I'll ask you about that later. But has
Thank you.
has it changed, like watching Seinfeld for you at all? Like, or when you're talking to him, are you ever like, "Oh, this is such a Seinfeld moment"?
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Is the fact that like I know the show so well, it's like burnt into my psyche. I've seen it 8,000 times. So like when I hang out with him, I want to go, "What's the deal with?" or yada yada yada, or not. There's anything wrong with that, or I'm the master of my domain, or whatever it is. But I have to hold myself back because he doesn't want to hear that shit. I remember the first time I got the DVDs for all the Seinfeld shows.
Oh yeah.
And they were talking about how they don't hang out. He was like, some reporter was like, "So do you and George and Elaine hang out?" He's like, "No, we go home after the show." And I was like, "Oh, I thought you guys were friends."
Mm-hmm.
I'm such an idiot.
No, that made me kind of sad.
Yeah, yeah. What the hell do I know? You know, I went to see Seinfeld, and when I was in college, it was like 2001 or 2000. Killed. It was amazing. It blew my mind. And somebody yelled out, "Where's Kramer?" And he was like, "Well, he's not real.
Mm-hmm.
It's a character." And I remember being like, "Oh yeah, I thought he was real too."
So I got a question for you. My dad saw Seinfeld at some point in time, and he was with my mom, but he told me he said it was a filthy show.
No.
Was there a period of time where he was like, I don't know, cursing more? He was just like shocked by how much he cursed.
Really?
But I don't know if it was just a different time or.
I think he saw Dennis Miller or something. I think he got it mixed up.
Well, he keeps telling me that. I'm like, there's no way.
There's no way. There's no way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless he got heckled and he was like, "Get the fuck off stage" or something. But no, that can't be. I think your dad's got dementia. Possibly.
Not yet, hopefully. But well, on the same Seinfeld level, though, I know you auditioned for Curb. Did you meet Larry David? Have you talked to him?
I met him once years ago at Amy Schumer's wedding.
Wow.
But I'm such a fan. He's like my all-time hero, and I didn't want to bother him. So it took everything I had not to go up and go, "Mr. David, I love you. I'm your biggest fan. You have huge influence on me." And out of courtesy to him and respect to him, Schumer goes, "Hey, Mark, have you met Larry?" And he was sitting at a table, and I was standing up over here. He was like where the fridge is. And I was like, no. And I go, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he goes, "Hey, how you doing?" And he goes, he's a comic. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, I can see that." And I was like, "Thank you." And that was it. And I left it at that.
Man.
He actually ended up going home with a smoking hot actress, who I'll tell you later who it is.
Okay. I'm excited about that.
He was just fresh off divorce.
One of my buddies was in New Orleans one time, and he just told me this because he knew I loved Seinfeld, but he said he was just gambling or sitting around a poker table and was talking to some old guy, made a comment, made him laugh, and when he walked away, someone was like, "You know who you're talking to? That was Larry David."
What?
And he was like, "Who's that?"
What?
Oh my god!
I know. I was very mad and jealous.
At a casino?
Yeah, just at
Wow.
a casino. He said he was just
Shocked.
wearing a hat and just kind of doing his own
Wow.
thing.
Yeah, they say he's the most normal guy. Like, he's a millionaire, he's famous, he's a brilliant whatever. Hates himself, low self-esteem, just regular dude. He drove a cab in New York like he was a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And that's who he is. Like, the money never changed him.
Yeah, I love that. The Curb, that's one of my favorite ones with John McEnroe, where he borrows the cab.
Yeah. That's a great one. He said he had one of the ladies, he was like a limo driver for a while, and he had a blind lady. He had to pick her up every day, and he would never wash the car. And she was like, "Car's clean, right?" He's like, "Oh, yeah, it's clean," because he was blind. So he's like, "What's the fucking difference?"
That definitely sounds like a Curb premise.
It sounds like a premise.
Yeah, I can't wait. Curb's about to come out. It's going to be exciting times.
It's bittersweet because I'm not in it. But yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nah, sorry, man.
No, it's fine.
We aren't either.
Wouldn't that be a twist? You guys are like, well, we're actually.
I hate to rub it in. It's salt in the wound here.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite stories that I was a weird third party to. You did a podcast with a comedian from Birmingham at the time, and he's since moved to New York. His name was Gio Perez.
Oh, I love Gio.
You did his show
He's a good
recently.
egg.
He had Dan Soder on, and
Yeah.
I saw he did it. So that was so cool. But Gio is classically a hard person to get conversations with. For
Is he?
instance, oh my gosh, man. So one time I was in his car, and I think I called him Puerto Rican instead of Dominican.
I did the same.
It was a long conversation about the differences between the cultures. But he's also a long talker in general.
Sure.
So when you did his like Instagram Live podcast.
It was during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, and all of a
Yes.
sudden I see like Gio Perez is going live, and he goes live all the time. And I'm like, okay. And then it's like Mark Norman
Well,
is live.
I called
with
you.
Gio.
I was like, dude,
Yeah.
do you see this?
I was like, wait, what is happening? So I'm watching it. Well, so several times you're like, all right, man, like I kind of need to wrap this up. And he'd be like, one more thing, Mark.
Yeah.
And you're like, I really got to take a shit. And you go and take a shit on Instagram Live while you're doing
Really?
this podcast.
Oh, I
Yeah,
don't
you
remember
wipe
that.
and everything.
Wow.
So this inspired this idea because you, of all people, need one of these more than anybody.
Uh-oh.
It's the Chappelle Show Wrap It Up
Wrap
box.
it up. Yeah, wow. Wrap it up, B. Wow. You didn't make this, did you?
I made that one.
So Reed made it.
Click that button. That one doesn't work, but click the button on the side.
On the inside.
Right here.
Oh. Oh, okay.
That's y'all's outro on We Might Be Drunk.
Yeah, a little
I just thought that'd be
cheers.
good. You can upload whatever song you want on there,
Really?
but- Yeah.
Holy shit.
I'll show you how to do it later, but
What are you, autistic? How'd
a
you
little
make
bit,
this?
a little bit.
That's
I think that's
incredible.
why I like you so much, to be honest.
This is great. Gotta put this in the studio. And
Yeah,
we
yeah.
might be drunk. Uh-oh. It's on loop.
It keeps going.
You gotta hit it again?
If you don't
Okay.
click it after a certain time, it plays a Japanese song. It came from China.
Ooh,
At least
okay.
that part did.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
After that story, I was like, we need to get him a Wrap It Up box. he could definitely use that. And when you're ready to leave tonight, just pull out the Wrap It Up box.
I love it, man. You guys are good. You thought of everything. This is quite a bag of tricks you got here.
Yeah. I know prop comics aren't very well thought of, but I hope this isn't too bad.
Well, I gotta say, Carrot Top gets a bad rap, but he's actually an amazing comic. He's like a punchline, but he's a killer.
He was in Birmingham, and the Stardom burned down and burned his whole like trunk up.
What?
And he was supposed to go on Jay Leno the next night, and he's like, "I lost my act.
Whoa.
I literally like don't have an act now. It caught on
Dang.
fire.
Wow.
Like, can you imagine? Like,
That's crazy.
That's like such a like showing up naked to class or something.
Right.
Like waking up and you're like don't have your pants. You're just like this is
That's wild. And
such a
that's,
terrible feeling.
But that's why I got into comedies, because you don't need stuff.
Yeah.
You know, you just go up and be funny.
There you go, Barney.
Yeah. So that sucks that he has to have a trunk of shit to lug around. But he's good at what he does. He gets a bad rep.
The plastic surgery's been pretty devastating.
Yeah, that's a tough look.
Yeah, because he just used to be this. I don't know. I mean, I like was a huge Carrot Top fan. I watched like his like movie that came out, like Employee of the Board,
Chairman
or
of the
whatever.
Board.
Yeah, Chairman of the Board,
Which
like,
we all know because of Norm.
Yeah.
Sadly, I'm sure
Man.
Carrot Top loves that. He's like, oh, Norm died. Now I get a fucking reboot of him roasting me.
I was even thinking of Norm when we were talking about Better Than Ezra.
Yeah, he had the
yeah.
great joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you remember the joke?
No, I'm forgetting the joke.
Do you know it, Mark?
It's something like
It's
Better Than Ezra was at a show, and they were.
it's almost close to the talent show story you gave. It's in that vein, but
It's a really simple joke, and I'm blowing it. It's like they were way more talented than the band before them, Ezra.
yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that.
Have you listened to?
Sorry,
It's okay.
I'm listening.
It's okay. Thanks for not going directly into the mic. But
I tried. It won't budge.
but have you? Oh man, I think I might have. That fart just lost my train of
No
thought.
joke. Quesadilla.
Have-
Barbecue.
I know you go by on YouTube. You have a few other names. You have you got Mark Dorman.
Oh, yeah.
Park Norman.
Yeah.
Have you thought of Narc Norman or Fart Norman?
Ooh, that's good. That's good. I'm down. Like, some people will come to me with ideas like the Mark Dorman. I dressed up as a doorman. I went around New York, and they just came to me with that and bought the uniform. And so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then there's Park Norman, there's Skate Park Norman, there's Roof Norman, or Mark Roofman, whatever it was. So if you got a decent idea, I'll do it.
No, you've proven that.
Yeah, yeah. And maybe even a not even good idea, I'll do it. So whatever you got, I'm in. I'm very willing to try shit. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the gifts.
Well, we got one last gift before we talk about Groundhog Day.
Ooh.
But we got you. This is a Laserdisc.
Wow, no, this not.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
Laserdisc
But
this big?
yeah, it's.
I mean, it's a vinyl, right?
No,
It's a
no, it's a
vinyl.
Laserdisc. It's where they used to play. It holds the movie on it.
It is a laser disc.
Whoa.
I've never seen a laser. You always hear about them. Never
Yeah.
actually seen one.
I knew you were like went to film school for a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought you might be able to pick it out, but you can just see some cool stuff. It has some cool facts on the back there.
Oh,
and
yeah?
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. All right, hang tight. Wow. Yeah, a lot of facts. Man, this feels like Christmas. All right, I'm not going to... This is a long facts here. But, yeah, this is super cool. Groundhog Day. One of my favorite Bill Murray movies. Very philosophical.
It is. There was a lot of like religions that like reached out to Harold Ramis like afterwards, and he thought they were going to be like very like anti the movie, but we're like, hey, good job.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I mean, Harold Ramis is a fucking beast. He doesn't get his due. He kind of wrote Caddyshack, Animal House. He's in Ghostbusters. He wrote this and directed it.
Multiplicity.
Ah, well, that's where he fell off. But yeah. This is back when comedies were good movies. Now comedies are kind of like, whoa, wacky. This is actually a good movie. Trading Places, good movie. Coming to America, good movie.
Yeah, you're one of my favorite comedians. So when you chose this movie, it's one of my favorite movies too.
Oh.
So I was very happy. It was just like, this is perfect.
Great.
But Mark, before we get started, we got one more gift for
Oh, I can't take it.
you. We got
Wow.
Groundhog Day on Laserdisc.
This is not a laser disc.
Wait,
That's a vinyl.
That's a vinyl,
That's
right?
not a laser disc. It
Oh,
is
it
a
is a
laser
Laserdisc.
disc. Wow, I've never
right.
seen one in real life.
All
Holy
right.
shit, I've always heard about it.
All right, yeah.
Oh, you got fun facts on here? This is back when comedy
You know-
movies were good.
You know, all the religions reached
Oh,
out to
really?
Harold
I mean,
Ramis.
Harold Ramis is a beast.
Yeah.
Doesn't get his
But
due.
yeah, we can get into the movie now. I just
bit
we had
worked
to
well.
do
Great
the
joke.
Groundhog gag.
I like it.
That was like,
Talking about props.
I've been dreading it for like 4 days. Like, should I do it? I don't know.
we were talking about like reaching out to you and talking to you and like
And feel
it was
free to
funny.
use that wrap it up box whenever you need to get out
I'm
of
going to
here.
use this when I got to remember to wear a condom.
But you were
Sorry.
talking about like Texan Seinfeld and that whole like he hasn't responded. Like
Yeah.
it's a similar feeling like when you're like we were trying to book comics, you're like, oh god, they haven't responded, you don't want to get on there. Like you're just like, ugh.
Yeah, comics are tough because A, we're lazy, and B, we're forgetful. So you're like, you want to do my pod? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. But then I'm never thinking. That's it. So then I need you to hit me up again to go, it's here at this time, and then I'll be there. But if you never hit me up again, I would just forget about it.
Oh yeah.
But then you don't want to be annoying. So it's this weird
It's
little...
a tough. You don't
little
want
give
to
and
be
take.
these like, who are these guys that keep sliding into my DMs?
Right. But you did a good job.
Thank you, appreciate it. What? I know you touched on Groundhog Day for a little bit, but like, when's the first time you saw that movie? Did you love it like instantly?
I did. What is it, like 92 or
Something like that.
Some-
92
I
or
think it was,
93.
93.
93? Okay, yeah. So I was 10 when that came out, but I loved Bill Murray. I loved Caddyshack. I loved Ghostbusters. Stripes. I loved Meatballs, all that shit. I loved SNL with Bill Murray. So this came out, and I was all in, and I had it on VHS and just rewatched it over and over. And it came on TV a lot back in the day. So that was back when you had cable. So there was no streaming, so you just watched what was on.
It was like a TBS movie.
Yeah.
Like, always on.
Always. TBS had a couple that just played. It was like Breakfast Club, Groundhog Day, Shawshank.
Yep.
Forrest Gump.
Yeah, Goodfellas was on a lot. So you just saw movies over and over, and you could not watch them. You're like, well, they're on. you know. And I've seen this movie 900 times.
Yeah, and it just gets better, really.
And my dad liked it. My dad hated everything, and so the fact that I liked it and he liked it was a big deal.
A huge reason why I like Seinfeld is because when I was growing up, same thing. My dad showed me Groundhog Day. I was like, "This is one of my favorite movies." I was like, "Oh, I love this too." But Seinfeld, if he came in after work and I was watching cartoons or something, he'd just like shake his head at me.
Same.
But if I was watching Seinfeld, he'd be like, "Oh, which one's this?" Oh, and just like sit there and watch it for a second. So I'd look cool, and like even I might be watching cartoons a minute before, but then I'd just get stuck watching Seinfeld.
Yes. My dad was the same way. If it's animated, he was like, "Ugh, grow up, you're a retarded kid." And then if I was watching
cartoons, you're 9. Like,
yeah. But the thing is, with Friends would be on, and my dad would go, like, he would make a joke, and he would say the punchline before they would say it. And he's like, "This is so predictable. This is shitty writing." And I was like, "Man, my dad, how does he know?" And he's like, "I've been watching sitcoms for 40 years, and this is just the same bullshit." And then we'd watch Seinfeld. He's like, "This is different. This is new. This is original." So anything that was shitty comedy, he would trash. And so if my dad liked it, I was like, all right, this is good. And he liked this.
I was just imagining your dad guessing that punchline like the Jeopardy scene in Groundhog Day.
Yeah, right. This is just such a weird, cool premise for a comedy, and it's kind of fantasy, but still comedy, but it works. Yeah. And then Bill Murray can carry a movie.
I know you have said you're not a fan of sci-fi, and I feel like this is about as sci-fi as you'll get.
This is about as bad as I'll go. Yeah. Like Liar, Liar. I used to love that movie, and which is the premise is so flimsy. The kid's like, "I want my dad to not be able to lie," and he blows out the candles, and that's it. That just works. Mm-hmm. So we just have to believe this premise, but if you go with it, it's fun.
When we were at the beach, I got to tell him the story.
Yeah, that's fine.
So Reed was very young. You were maybe 6, 7.
I was born 91. He was born 86.
Oh wow.
So 5, 6.
So
years.
I was always watching movies I shouldn't watch when I was like 5.
I
6,
couldn't
7.
watch The Simpsons. My mom wouldn't let me watch any. Oh, I'm like the firstborn, super like. Oh, you can't watch it. I had to leave a spend the night party in 3rd grade because they were watching Jurassic Park, and they thought it like. I was just that kid.
Yeah.
So Reed gets to watch Liar Liar. We're down at the beach. I really wanted to watch it. We watch it. Well, so then the next day we go to this restaurant, and Reed goes to the bathroom and gets back. He comes back and his hair is all disheveled. He's just clearly been in a fight. And we're like, "Who did this?" He's like, "I just got beat up in the bathroom." And runs us through the whole gamut. It was like, I don't know. He had dark hair. He had dark eyes. We're like, my mom talks to the manager of the restaurant, complains. I'm sure they comp stuff.
Wow.
And then on the way home, my mom's like, "Reed, did you beat yourself up in the bathroom because of that movie we watched?"
I knew it was funny. I just didn't understand why.
Yeah. Who did this to? Kind of 6 foot, big teeth, kind of gangly. Yeah. Wow, that's a lead. You didn't knee the radiator, did you?
No, there was no.
He does that in the movie, and I was like, "Oh, that's brutal."
You don't even see that injury.
I know. I'm kicking my ass.
What's great is I did that for no reason. There was no benefit. There was nothing. I didn't.
That's fun.
Yeah. We didn't even tell me how to pick up the check.
Or just a wild card.
I remember when I was a kid, I found a sling somewhere for your arm. When you break your arm, and I found it somewhere like a summer camp, and I just put it on. I was like, I broke my arm. My mom's like, "Oh my god!" And I just made the whole thing up. It was fun. You got a rise out of them. They pretended to care. You got a hug.
Harmless little pranks.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mark, I feel like you're a big people pleaser.
Sure.
Which is part of why you're here in general.
Sure.
But with that, I feel like you're kind of nice. And is there a part of you that really liked this movie because Bill Murray gets to be so mean and rude with no consequences? I was sitting there thinking,
interesting.
There might have been a little part of you that isn't that way that would like to explore that.
When he was a cunt in the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like that. I do like that. And I like that he got a second chance and he could figure it out. But no, I totally relate to that guy who's just cranky and cunty and mean. And he's got the niceness in him. We don't have to go through the whole movie, but yeah, it's fun when he's in the beginning part because he's a kind of a newscaster douchebag guy. And, Ned Ryerson, he's like, "Get out of here. You suck," But I guess I like that he turns around and becomes nice.
So, follow it because you said Ned Ryerson. Do you have a Ned Ryerson in your life that if you ran into right now, you'd be like, oh.
Oh, I got a million Neds. I got a million Neds. Too many Neds. Because New York has a zillion people in it. It's got a million comics and guys you used to work with or waited tables with. So when you bump into them, they're like, hey, how's the career? What's going on? What are we doing? You want to get a drink? Da, da, da. And you're like, oh, how do I get out of this? But, yeah.
You should just do what Bill Murray does and hug him and ask him if he can cancel the rest of his day.
That was improv.
Yeah, I read
Was
that.
it?
Yeah.
It was just supposed to be give him a hug and say you miss him. And they said that like Andie MacDowell too she's always like genuinely laughing throughout the movie because Bill just kept everyone on their toes.
Yeah.
Actors are supposed to kind of be able to know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And Bill just always improvs.
Wow.
Did you know too the movie was shot in like reverse order?
No.
Because Ramis knew that Bill Murray over time gets like disillusioned with shooting and gets grumpier over time. So he shot the happy scenes first.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's kind of sad though at the same time.
A little bit, but the cool thing is Ramis knew and used that.
Exactly.
That's incredible.
Well, the first part of the movie when he's the weatherman like in studio, they shot that like months after the film was in the can because the storyline didn't make sense because it kind of opened up with him already in Puxatawny. He was like already in Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And
the original script.
that's what the original script called for. So Ramis was like, all right, I think you need to know the character and see him getting here.
Yes.
And not just waking up there.
For sure,
Which
yeah.
makes a lot of sense. Like we watched during the pandemic and we reviewed Palm Springs.
Oh, good movie.
It was really fun. It was similar to this.
Very similar.
But you wake up and he's already in it.
Right.
It's kind of more to the original premise Palm Spring was.
I would agree. But Reed, we were doing that podcast, and Reed kept throwing it back to Groundhog Day because he loves Groundhog Day so much. So it was like, all right, let's keep talking about Palm Springs. Well, Bill Murray would have done it like when you did pick Groundhog Day, I was pumped for Reed because I was like, man, you're one of his favorite comics. It's his favorite movie. Like, this is just the perfect storm.
All right, great. Yeah, and great fact. Keep them coming if you know more.
I got a few
Please.
humdingers.
The kid that fell out of the tree ended up growing up to become a newscaster.
Hey, look at that.
I thought it was fun, too, that Bill Murray goes from being a weatherman that can't predict the weather, or can't predict accurately, to being able to predict everything within that day.
Oh, yeah, good call. Good observation.
And also, Bruce Almighty. Isn't that weird? There's other, like, newscasters with, like, I don't know, godlike powers. I don't know. I just kind of thought something else. I don't know.
Interesting. No, I can see that. Yeah, that's a weird coincidence.
I don't really have words to connect it all, but...
By the way, how great is Stephen Tobolowsky, Ned Ryerson? That guy kills it. Bing!
He's so good. Chris Elliott's so good.
Chris Elliott's great.
I forget every time. Like I forget he's in this movie every time, and then I see him. I'm like, oh yeah, Chris Elliott's in this.
Wait, who's Chris Elliott?
He's the
camera guy.
The camera guy.
Oh yeah.
But he's had one of those careers where it's like the most unassuming long career where you're just like, oh yeah, he's in this.
Yeah,
he's in that.
yeah.
Like he was in Schitt's Creek that was just
Right.
won so many awards.
Right.
And like, I mean, I think
Something About Mary.
Yes.
he's in Something About
great in
Mary.
that.
Like Woogie.
Woogie.
Like, he's great in that. Like there's just
You ever had a whitehead on your eyeball?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. He's a killer. He was on Letterman back in the day.
I forgot he's on SNL.
Yeah.
And then his daughter ended up doing SNL, and she was on How I Met Your Mother for a while.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like I don't know. You see that a lot where you're like, I didn't even know this guy like did all these things, let alone like has a daughter that's doing all these things.
Yeah.
He's got a great presence. Like he's
He
just
does.
he's just goofy, just standing there being in the shot.
I know, and he's subtle in a funny way. Bill Murray's also subtle, but so good. You can't put your finger on why he's good, but he's great. Norm Macdonald kind of had that. You're like, this guy's just great, but I can't figure out why Bill Murray's great. He's almost like winking at the camera, like we're all in on this. Me being a funny guy. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but he's got something.
Well, I feel like Groundhog Day, too, especially feels the most true to Bill.
Yes.
And just like his character. Even like the pranks he's doing, it feels like what he does in real life a little bit. You know,
Right.
Just like some of the odd behavior.
Yeah, you can kind of just tell he doesn't give a fuck. And it comes through somehow. I don't know. It's amazing.
I was curious, did you attempt to learn piano because of this movie?
Wow.
During
That's
the
a
pandemic.
great question. That it is what I think of when I think of a cool guy playing the piano at a party. Like, he just gets on the piano at the end with the sunglasses, and I'm like, I want to be that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And so that did factor in when I bought the piano. Wow, man, you just tapped into my fucking lizard brain.
John Mayer always says his inspiration for picking up guitar was Marty McFly.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Your kids
So
are
in a
gonna
different
love it.
universe, there might be a piano Mark Norman in that Mark cinematic universe.
It's also why he's attracted to his mother. All right, never mind. My favorite line in this movie, I think, has to be when Bill Murray's gone. Like, he's off the deep end. He's like, I'm just going to be weird with this. And he dresses up as Bronco. I told you, call me Bronco. And he's wearing the sombrero.
Oh, yeah.
And that girl walks by and he just goes, my own fiance doesn't even recognize me.
I forgot about that.
That's my favorite. I think that's my favorite part in the whole movie.
Yeah, that must have been a riff. I bet that was
It had to be
off the cuff.
Harold Ramis just said he wanted to do a Clint Eastwood impression. He was like, I didn't realize it was Clint Eastwood. I was watching it with subtitles, and it came
says
up.
Clint Eastwood,
Yeah.
Bill Murray's brother's in this a ton.
Yeah, Brian Doyle Murray. He's great, too.
The Bubble Boy's dad.
Yeah, that's right. The Moops. Yoo-hoo. I loo Yoo-hoo. It's a fine drink.
I will say, when I had two bones to pick with the movie, which is hard to do, but Rita is a terrible auction lady. The auction for Bill was $60.
Oh, yeah.
And then she jumps to $336 or whatever.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, what are you doing? Like, that's
I think it was to show like she's using everything she has.
Yeah, but it was
But
like,
yeah.
she could have won it for $100 easy.
She was flexing on that crowd.
Yeah.
I want all Puxatawny to know.
Right. That's a lot of money in Puxatawny.
That's like 93 too. That's like
Yeah.
$1,200.
Exactly. I don't find her that likable.
I
That
don't
was
either.
my only gripe with the movie. Even as a kid, I was like, she sucks. She's boring. She's all right. She's not fun.
When I watched this, I was thinking, if she's slapping Bill Murray this much, I can't imagine how much she'd slap back Mark Norman.
Oh, yeah, good point. Good point. Yeah. She wasn't fun to me. I was like, this is it? You're going to pursue her for your eternity? Mm-hmm. I feel like we can do better. I'd rather the diner lady. The redheaded lady seemed way more fun.
Oh, Nancy. I thought you meant the waitress.
No.
Yeah, I did too. I was like,
no.
wow.
She's
Well,
a
that's a
battle
story.
axe. Yeah. But Nancy seems like she, like anal or something.
It felt like a video game where he's like trying to get to a certain level of Andy or Rita or whatever, and he like keeps failing each time, but you get a little further in the game. Like, it was very much like
Mario trying to get that jump.
Yeah, I mean, it really was like when you were watching it, and how it kind of like felt like a video game where like if he didn't interact with someone, that day was different. Like when he is helping the old man over and over again in that hospital scene, there's the little boy in the background with his leg up because Bill Murray didn't catch him out of the tree.
Oh,
so there's just
I never caught that one.
That's
good.
It's crazy to think about like how much one person can impact the lives of so many people in just one day.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life might be the first movie to kind of capture that. This one guy, if he dies, this guy dies, that guy goes to war, the company failed, whatever it is. And this is a good example of that.
Another fun fact is that snowball scene where the kids are throwing snowballs.
Yeah.
Apparently, like, they told them just to throw them as hard as you can. And you can see them really slinging it. And Bill Murray starts throwing them as hard as he can back. Like,
yeah, that was great.
Well, you know, like, the saddest part of this whole movie is, like, Bill Murray and Harold Ramis, like, had like a breakup.
I heard.
Like 20 years they didn't talk to each other until like I think like right before Harold Ramis died.
Oh, so they made it back.
I think like Bill Murray went and visited him. I think they had some conversations. I don't know the extent of it. I don't think a lot's been written about it. But it's just that sucks. Like,
yeah, I know.
You think about because they did Stripes. I mean, they had so many like Ghostbusters.
Yeah, what I heard was Bill Murray was going through a divorce or getting separated and was already cranky, and then he got fed up. Like, I even heard something. He said he got mad at him and stayed in the shower. Like, he's in the scenes where he's like, "Oh, hot, cold water."
Yeah,
and he just wouldn't come out of the shower one day, and said that he got frustrated and he hired a deaf assistant And I didn't know if you knew about this.
No.
But it's funny, but kind of cruel too, because the person just couldn't interact. Like they just had trouble communicating with everyone. It just made everything a big headache.
It was just a prank, basically.
Pretty much. But Bill had to he like stuck with it for like 3 weeks. I think. I think he probably thought it was funny. Then like a few days into it, was like, oh god,
This is a nightmare.
yeah.
I wonder what was their rift. Like, what caused the beef? Do we know?
I heard that Bill Murray, because he was so attached to all of Harold Ramis's projects, he kind of wanted to show that he was the guy. It wasn't just
Right.
Harold making him look good, and he kind of hated all the credit Harold would get. So I feel like it was kind of some tensions there, and creative tensions. I heard Bill Murray wanted to make this movie more philosophical, and Harold Ramis wanted to make it more comedy, more lighthearted. I'm surprised you didn't know this.
No, this is good stuff.
You saw Bill Murray kind of did go in the more of a serious vein there, like after stuff like this. I mean, because he did What About Bob, I think, like right before this.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah, that's all wacky.
Oh, yeah. So you could just see, like, I think it was definitely like, because when was, I guess late 90s was Lost in Translation? Or is that early 2000s?
Early 2000s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to
close
that
enough.
Wes
But
Anderson, that Lost in Translation vibe. He kind of got, I don't want to say serious, but he definitely toned down the comedy.
Well, we just reviewed Rushmore.
Oh, so good.
It's great, and I love that Bill Murray.
I do too.
Like we were talking about it. Our biggest gripe with that movie is there wasn't enough.
Not Bill Murray, yeah. And Wes Anderson's like obsessed with Bill Murray.
Oh, I
so
know.
the fact that he got him in is like, and now he's in all of them.
That's such a cool story too.
What's that story?
Just that they were, they wanted it. They wrote the whole part for him and didn't think they were ever going to get it.
Right.
So that's just anytime you're like writing something, I think when I hear a story where it's like this person wrote this part specifically for this person and like weren't even going to make the project if he couldn't do it. I love it. And then it's like, and then he did it. It's like, I love that.
Bill Murray's the man. He has no agent, no manager. He just has a voicemail.
Yeah, I love that, but I think he's probably missed a lot of good projects
Probably.
because of that.
Well, that's why he did Garfield.
That was a paycheck at least.
But yeah, you know that story.
Yeah, he thought it was something else, right?
He thought it was one of the Coen brothers.
It was a different Joel Coen.
Yeah,
That's right.
It's spelled the same, but
Right.
like
Whenever in this movie he's completely broken and just like, campers, it's going to be a cold, like laying in bed, I was like, oh, this is giving me Garfield vibes.
And he did 2 of them. The Tale of Two Kitties.
is that what it's called?
Yeah.
No, you are right.
That's awful.
I know. I'm sure that was a decent paycheck.
When at the end of the Groundhog Day movie, when they're like, he's just played the piano, just went nuts on the piano. By the way, like that's insane. That whole like that had to take 20 years to get that good.
I know.
Harold Ramis said that he thinks that he had to be in there at least 10 years because
Is that
of
right?
how good he got at piano and I guess ice sculpturing and
Right,
stuff like that.
right.
Yeah.
There's something beautiful about that. You're like, damn, the human mind and human beings can adapt and learn things and get better at shit. Mm-hmm. But you got to do it. You got to work at it.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with stand-up. I mean,
Yeah.
like, if you're not getting stage time and writing jokes and doing stuff, you're not. I mean, you're gonna plateau.
Completely.
I know you've made the comparison before, but it's the story of Sisyphus and rolling the ball up the hill.
Yeah,
I mean,
Sisyphus.
stand up or
Yeah.
syphilis. Yeah, sorry.
There you go. It's true. You got to have a thing. Otherwise, you'll just kind of rot away. I mean, you always hear about these guys who have a job where they work at a mill, and then the day they quit, they die, or 2 days later, they die because they got no purpose.
So we saw on the way up, we were listening to you on Theo Vaughn's podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And you were talking about like rainy day movies and like being little and throwing in like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
So that was the first movie I ever went and saw in theaters.
Oh, wow.
Was Who Framed? I don't remember. My parents took me to it.
Yeah.
Do you remember like your first movie, or do you remember the first movie you really loved?
That's a great question. First movie. I don't think I do remember my first movie, but the first movie, let's see, because I saw a lot of shit in the theaters. Good question. What did I see? I saw Jurassic Park in the theater, 1993, 10 years old, petrified. I mean, on my mom's lap, shaking, like doing the look through the fingers thing because I was so scared. That was crazy. I saw The Matrix in the theaters.
You used to get street cred at our school for how close you sat to the front row.
Oh, really?
During Jurassic Park. It's like, dude, so-and-so sat third row.
Yeah, it was. I saw Ace Ventura in the theater with my mom. She hated it. I thought it was unbelievable. That was fun.
That's one of those like where your parents are sitting there like not understanding. You at all.
Completely.
Yeah.
Saw Kingpin in the theater on a date. The girl hated it. I was like, this is amazing. Also, Bill Murray.
Love Kingpin.
Kingpin is underrated, by the way, as a comedy.
Right out of the gate in Kingpin, one of my favorite lines in any movie is when he's like, that old guy sitting there on oxygen. He's like, "Hey, Harold, how's life?" And he just goes, "Taken forever."
Oh, yeah.
That's a great line.
Yeah, yeah. Bill Murray's great in that when he's fucking he's like doing that charity event and he's like fucking all the moms.
His hand keeps like going down.
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Ernie McCracken.
Ernie McCracken's got the crazy comb over that keeps flopping back.
Great.
And you know what? Norm pointed this out because Norm liked Bill Murray. And Norm said Bill Murray's the only guy in Hollywood who has just aged normally. Everyone else gets surgery and face shit, Botox and plastic surgery. He just looks like shit.
Yeah.
He's an old guy. He looks like an old guy's supposed to look like. He's balding. He's got weird skin. He's old. He's wrinkled.
You recently posted on your Instagram, like, "Happy birthday, 71, Bill Murray." And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, 71. Like, I thought he was like
He looks
81.
88,
Yeah.
He looks like ass. But he's also a booze bag, too. And,
Yeah, he's lived a hard life.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when he's in Zombieland and he's just like, I just made myself look like a zombie. He does makeup and he's like walking around playing golf. And like, it's like, yeah, like I believe that, Bill Murray. You're
Yeah.
definitely not that far off. Like, I can
Yeah.
see, like, he looked very convincing as a zombie.
Bill Murray is the Jack Nicholson of comedy, whereas like you just like him, you know, and he's like an icon, and he can show up at a party and you're like, Bill Murray's here, and you know you see Jack Nicholson at the Lakers game, you're like, Nicholson, whoa, it's just special.
Similar hairline, too, I feel like.
Bad hairline as well, big forehead, you know, both 70s guys, drugs, all that shit.
I noticed in this movie, too, when Bill Murray did the, like, acting like a groundhog, I was like, man, he's got some awful teeth.
Bad
Like,
teeth,
yeah.
bad skin, bad hair.
It's inspirational.
It is. It is. Another male privilege. You can look like that and still be loved.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if a lady looked like that, you'd throw her in a dumpster.
She wouldn't be the co-star, that's for sure.
She wouldn't be the lead, yeah. Which sucks for the gals. I guess Melissa McCarthy's fat, and she's doing fine.
One question. Oh, I meant to ask you earlier when we were talking about Norm, but have you read his book or listened
Yeah.
to? Like, I listened to the audiobook recently, which is just great. It's him narrating
reads it?
Yeah, he reads
Oh,
it, so
shit.
it's worth it. Like, it's obviously way funnier probably.
I
in his
might go
delivery.
back and listen because I read it.
Yeah, well, the audiobook was great, but he mentioned like having some pre-show rituals, and I was wondering, do you have anything that you do before a show?
I got weird ones. I need to have a shower. I like to get a shower. I can do one without it, but I prefer to shower before a show. Got to look at my notes, got to go over it, and then I do a thing where I fake jump rope. I don't know why, because sometimes I get the butterflies, and if I fake jump rope in the green room, it kind of just sets me down a little bit. But
That's interesting.
How long is that fake?
Yeah, how
jump
long
rope?
is this
I do
Rocky
3 minutes. I
montage?
got to watch. I go, okay, it's 10:20. I'll go to 10:23, and when you think about it,
Are you jumping too?
I jump and I do like one of these,
Okay.
but you don't need a rope. Everybody's
Yeah.
like, oh, what you have no rope? I'm like, I'm still jumping.
Yeah, you're double, triple jumping. easy.
Yeah, and with the rope, you actually get caught every now and then. You have to stop. This is just continuous jumping.
Do you ever do crisscrosses?
I do crisscross. I do a double. Yeah.
You get a lot of workouts in just on the fly, I feel like. I know you're always posting clips of doing pull-ups
Yeah.
on the scaffolding.
Everybody's full of shit. They're like, I got no time to work out. You can do 30 pull-ups in like 38 seconds, or 40 seconds. It's quick.
God, what are you, a Marine?
Well, pull-ups are just like the best workout if you go forward-facing like that. And it gets the core, it gets the lats, it gets the shoulders, the bicep, the tricep, the whole thing. And it takes 2 seconds.
Not much of a leg guy. I guess
No,
that's skateboarding.
my legs look like Holocaust legs. So, yeah, I could use some leg stuff, but I just focus up here. Put jeans on.
How much did you skateboard, though, growing up? Because I was watching your videos recently, and I know you're rusty. You don't do it much, but you're still, you're still getting out there. It looked like the moves you're breaking out, it's like, if this is Rusty, I'm sure he was really good in his prime.
Well, a lot of editing involved.
Do you think you're, where do you rank yourself compared to, who's the actor that skates? I can't think of his name.
Jason Lee?
Jason Lee, yeah.
Well, he was a pro.
He was a pro, though.
Professional.
I was thinking, though, famous people that skateboard that I guess are actors or comedians, and I feel like you're probably in that list.
Yeah, there's not a lot of comedians who skated, but the parallels to skating and comedy are like neck and neck. They're so close. It's like you got to work on it. If you fail, In a joke, you bomb. In the trick, you fall. But they're so similar, and you work on it alone. It's individual. There's no team. And you got to force yourself to do it. And it's scary sometimes to jump down the stairs, or it's scary to perform in front of these people. But, it's so similar.
I feel like bombing hurts worse.
Probably, yeah. It definitely does.
I don't know. I've wrecked on a skateboard and I hadn't skated since.
So, all right, you drive a motorcycle.
Yeah.
You skateboard.
Yeah.
Have you ever been majorly injured growing up? Have you ever had a big injury?
I've been lucky. I've broken both ankles. I broke one wrist. I've been knocked out many times skating, like falling on my head. But yeah, I'm lucky.
I worry. Sam, you didn't even have insurance?
I don't have insurance.
That's crazy.
I fell off the bike once. I felt like I hit a bump and went over the handlebars and just slid on the cement. And it was winter, so luckily I had a coat on.
Yeah.
But a bunch of construction workers were like, "Oh shit!" and they ran over, and I was like laying on the gravel, and I see the guys running in hard hats coming. It's like slow mo. And I got up, and I was like, "I'm good." And I was so hurt. I was in such pain, but I just was like, "I'm good. I'm good." And I tucked the bike away and like went on the sidewalk and like, God.
That's the part of the movie where you're supposed to like realize like you're supposed to like fall for the girl.
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
and,
change
like,
my life.
Yeah.
Or give up the bike.
or that. Yeah.
Have you seen the Louis episode where he gets the bike?
Yeah.
I know that's based on a real story.
That is.
Really, Louis is the first place where I found you. I feel like, I don't know if there was a lot of people that found you through Horace and Pete.
Not many.
But I'm such a Louis fan that when that came out, I like bought it through and watched it. It was just like you were one of my favorite guys of the people at the bar.
Oh, really?
I was like,
wow.
Who is this guy? And like, that's your only acting credit right now.
Yeah, that's about it.
How did that come about?
Louis was like Louis. He was the guy. I mean, he was like the number one TV show.
He's still the guy to me, but
well,
I get it.
He's one of the best comics of all time, easily. But like, he was the guy. I mean, he's changed the game. An hour special every year. He put his special out on his website. No one did that. He had his own ticket system. No one did that. He was just this weird creative guy. He had a TV show where he got $250 an episode. He paid the comics. He paid the actors. He edited it. He wrote it. He was just on another level. And then he did Horace and Pete. And I met him one night at the Cellar. He was doing a set, and I was like, "Oh my God, Louis!" I did a set, and it was just me and him at the table, just chatting. And I was pretending to not be freaking out, the whole time. And I was shitting blood. Yeah. And we just chatted, and 2 days later, he emailed me because I was like, "Oh, there's a bunch of bar shows and all this," and he was like, "Oh, give me a list." And he emailed me one night and was like, "Hey, what's those bar shows?" And I spent like 3 hours and put this list together, and I rated each one and said, "This one's good for this, and this one's a little far, but it starts late," or whatever. And I think he appreciated that, and because of that, he put me on Horace and Pete.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it was this wild show. It was like Alan Alda, Steve Buscemi, Edie Falco.
Yeah, the cast is ridiculous.
Metcalf. Yeah, and then it was like Stephen Wright, who I was a huge fan of, and Kurt Metzger.
Yeah. Wow.
And Greer Barnes was in it. And it was just like, oh my God, this is like so out of my league.
Out of that group, who do you have like the biggest like nerves or stage fright?
Well, Alan Alda was like, Jesus Christ, this guy's famous. And your parents, they know you do stand up, but they don't really get it. But then if I'm like, hey, I'm doing this TV show with Alan Alda, they're like, what the fuck? You're doing a movie with Hawkeye or whatever? So that was wild, and Alan Alda called me a cocksucker and a faggot, and I was like, this is so surreal. And just Louis behind a camera, with the glasses, like, all right, action, and then we'd go, like, cut, just go off script. So we have to memorize these lines, and then 2 seconds in, he'd be like, that sucks, just start talking. And we'd be like, about what? He's like, abortion. And then we just start talking about abortion. And we're comics, so we could just
bullshit. Got tons of abortion material.
Tons. So it was just super fun and super loose and weird, and it was great. Great time. And then nobody saw it except you.
Yeah, I saw it. Yep.
Yeah. Good times.
Was it easier because he wrote that role for you? I know it was your first acting
gig, because I can't act.
Were you nervous? Like,
I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I was freaking out the whole time, and he just filmed so much that eventually you loosen up because you're there for so many hours, and you just become yourself, and then you just get in the groove. But the beginning was wild. I'm just like, I'm talking to Alan Alda. I'm supposed to be normal. What are you, crazy? And I can't act. So It was weird.
Do you think that's your biggest, like, surreal kind of pre-performance freak out where you're like, I can't believe this is about to happen? Or is there another moment that
that was up there because I was a kind of a newish comic, but the Seinfeld stuff is still the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I would have loved to just watch that the diner the night after y'all did stand up together and just ate at that diner. I'm sure that was really fun. I mean, it just sounds like an episode of Comedians Getting Coffee.
Yeah, that's what it was. Except he was cursing.
Yeah,
he was more.
That's what
himself.
My dad told me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
He was right.
But yeah, no, that was pretty surreal. Just being in the room with him. The first time I met him was the most surreal because you're like, I've listened to this guy for 8 million hours. I've watched him on TV for 9 million hours. I know his album back to front. He's like this superhero guy. And then you're in a room with him. Like, he's right here, this close. And I'm chatting with him like, what the fuck is going on? This is great. And you know his face so well. You know his voice so well. The whole thing was insane. But then after like 10 minutes, he's normal.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's a wild world. Did you ever see Comedian?
Yes.
Yep.
The scene in that movie where he meets Cosby, who was his idol, this is before all the shit hit the fan. But he meets Cosby, and he's like, it's crazy. I used to listen to him on records, not Laserdisc, on records in my bedroom as a kid, and now I'm meeting him. It's like he's like, it's crazy. Life could be that long that you could do this. And that's how I feel about Jerry. I'm like, it's crazy. Life could be that long. I'm watching you at dinner with my parents in New Orleans to now at the Beacon Theater in Manhattan. Crazy.
That's such a cool.
If they were to like remake Comedian today, who would you like to see like the two comedians be focused on?
Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting because it's tough because the comedian you pick would change the movie. So Seinfeld was so good because he was this legend who's now trying to get back into it. And that was the great part of the show. Then you had Orny, who was like the newish guy.
I heard that Seinfeld might have chose him because he would make Seinfeld look a little bit better.
Probably, yeah.
You know,
I think
like
so.
As opposed to picking like David Tell or someone like that.
You need a heel. You need Seinfeld looked so cool and likable, and he was like annoying and bitter. So yeah, it was a fun choice. It might have been the perfect choice.
To add again, I guess if you were to be the lead and comedian, who would you pick to be the under guy? Is there someone?
Well, you're basically asking me who sucks.
Yeah,
who's
annoying?
Who's a shitty head?
That's true.
This guy I just met right here.
Yeah. There's a lot of them out there. But, no, I mean, even when I saw that growing up, like I was a new comic, I was like, I would kill to be Orny Adams. This guy's passed at every club. He lives in New York City. I was in New Orleans watching that going, this guy's complaining?
Yeah.
He's got it made. So, that was tough.
Being from New Orleans, you don't really have too much of a southern draw, I feel like. Do you?
Yeah, I get that a lot. I never had it. New Orleans is kind of a liberally kind of city. It's more city vibe, and I grew up in the city.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why.
I just feel like whatever side Theo Von grew up on, y'all must have been on the other side.
I think he's Covington. He's the other side of the lake. The North Shore, we called it. So it was a little more backwoods over there. And I grew up like, city kid. Skyscrapers and
Skateboarding,
public school, yeah.
I totally see that with Theo Von.
Yeah.
I picture him having that haircut like his whole life. like Joe Dirt. Like he's just had that. He came out of the womb with that haircut.
Right. Well, when I met him years ago, he was like a good-looking kind of like cool guy. And he had short hair, and he had gel in it, and girls liked him. And he just got into comedy and kind of went, comics go their own way, whatever. And then right when he got the mullet, like, I don't know, 6 years ago, I was like, he's found it. He's cemented exactly his comedy voice, his shtick, his whole thing, nailed it. And it all just came together. He did that Rogan episode, whenever that was.
Oh,
and
that was great.
Just took off.
Your Rogan episode, the same thing, though.
Oh,
I think
thanks.
y'all both kind of blew up from that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Theo was like a star. I did okay. I sold some tickets, but Theo was like, who is this guy? And also, I think the country needed a comic like that because we were kind of going these weird ways of like, we need a woke guy, we need an activist guy, we need the guy who says racism is bad. And you're like, yeah, we got this guy. But nobody looked like Theo or sounded like Theo. So when he came out, it was like, This is new.
Well, I didn't trust it at first because of Larry the Cable Guy. You know? I've been hurt before from other rednecks faking it, I guess.
Yeah, Theo's so much funnier than Larry the. I mean, Larry the Cable Guy's funny, but Theo is just like on a different. He's on a different planet.
Absolutely.
He's got his own language.
Larry's just he's from like Nevada or something like that. He's not even Southern.
He stole a comic from Birmingham's joke.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he like this guy, his name's Peter Davenport, one of the great, like he's truly one of the best joke writers in like Birmingham. I think he's phenomenal. And he wrote this joke that went viral. It was all over like Instagram and Twitter.
Wow.
And Larry the Cable Guy put it out word for word on his Twitter. What? And so many people like Birmingham comics were just like, oh, okay. And like started like attacking him on Twitter. And he took it down and then apologized to Peter. And he was like, sorry, someone sent it to me. And I thought it was funny. And Peter was just like, oh, don't worry about it. But I was sitting there like, someone sent it to you, so you did it word for word? Like, that's just so shitty to me. Like, and that's become like, we had a guy show up at an open mic and do some of your jokes one night.
No.
I swear. And I was like, dude, like, you're going to act like we don't know who Mark Norman is?
Wow.
Like, you can't. I was like, if you come back, do your own material or don't come back.
Damn.
Like, and it was sad. Like,
I respect that.
It's just like, that's a big thing right now in our, like, people just...
The internet did that.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, somebody hasn't heard of this person.
Right.
I'm going to do 2 of these jokes, and then they're going to love me. And it's just like, what are you doing? Like, I don't want that ever.
No, but these guys aren't real comics.
No,
they're just like, I want the laugh, I want the love, but I don't actually... To be a comic, the cool part is having your own point of view, your own voice, and you got to find that and grow that. So if you want to just skip that bullshit and do it all the easy way, then you're not a real comic.
Like that's the greatest rush to me is when you write a joke.
Yes.
And you're like, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And then you've got that, like, I don't know how long it is, but like if it's whether it's that night, like I'm sitting on pins and needles like the rest of the day, being like, I can't wait to tell this joke.
I know.
And I can't wait to see if it's going to work.
And it never does.
Yeah, and like even if it I don't know, that feeling is so great. I couldn't imagine like
I know.
I don't know.
I've had guys send me like, hey man, here's a video of me at my bar mitzvah and I did your act. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of nice because they're like, hey, I'm doing you. I'm aware of it. I'm not stealing it. It's like an homage. I'm not making money on this or anything. I'm not going to be a comedian. But I want to do like a little show at my bar mitzvah or my whatever. And that I'm okay with. That's kind of flattering.
Reed, what were we talking about where you were like, we were talking about the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which I feel like people ask me that all the time. Like, oh, you do stand-up. Have you seen the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel? And I'm just like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, same.
But that guy that was stealing jokes in the beginning of that,
I haven't seen the show.
Oh, well, I think we were talking about it back in the day. I thought you were telling me that people would
like... Oh, yeah.
Like, you would have people be like, I'm going to go do this impersonation of this guy's hour. Mm-hmm. Because there weren't like vinyls were so hard to get.
Yeah.
So people would travel and do like Mark Norman's, like Nick Canady presents Mark Norman.
Yeah.
And I would get on stage and do your jokes.
Yeah, that was normal.
I read that in the book. I think you recommended. It's
Comedians?
The Comedians.
Oh,
yeah. It's like maybe in the vaudeville. What's it?
Vaudeville.
Yeah, vaudeville. Yeah. That word. Just that era. That's when they were doing that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, because nobody knew. Like you saw a guy in Kansas City. You lived in Kansas City. You weren't going around. There was no internet. So some guy in New York would go to Kansas City, see the jokes, and bring them back to New York, and now he's killing. That was kind of normal.
It's just like the Wild West of jokes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like that gold nugget. I'm going to shoot you and take it.
Well, it could have been, comedy could have been more like music, because that's kind of, now you can cover music all the time.
Right, exactly. But now there's the internet with memes and Twitter and all this shit, which is just joke everywhere. It's just free reign. So people think, like, people have stolen my joke and made it a meme. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? They're like, it's on the internet, dude. Get used to it. And I'm like, I know, but I still thought of it, and, you know, you didn't.
Yeah.
But they don't give a shit. Fat Jew.
Yes. I had to unfollow so many. Him, and then, like, what's the other one?
Fuck Jerry.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I have a friend that has an account, and like same thing. You just see so many jokes that are like, oh my god.
And it's all like it's
recycled.
like Reddit 4 hours later. It's like stuff you see on Reddit, and then they take it from there, give no credit.
Yep.
And I don't know. It's just.
And then they get love. Everybody's like, "Fuck Jerry's so funny." You're like, "No, that guy's funny. That comic in Alabama."
Thank you.
In Birmingham.
What is the joke? The Larry the Cable Guy joke.
It was. I'll have to pull it up.
You pull it up. I'll ask him a question while you're pulling it up. Did after leaving the Ghetto Boys podcast?
Yeah.
How soon after did you play "Damn It Feels Good to Be a Gangster"?
I think I played it that night. I just had to hear it. It's such a great tune.
Yeah,
And
that pod was great. Too, by
thanks.
the way. Just
sadly, that's all I know from them. I'm not like a real big rap guy.
I didn't imagine you were. Like, it's just
Nah.
hard. I know you grew up in a black neighborhood, but it still is hard to imagine you listening to hip hop.
I got enough black all day long. Like, a lot of guys I knew grew up in the suburbs, so they were like all into black culture and music and outfits.
They're curious.
Yeah, they're like, this is different. This is exotic. And I'm like, that ain't exotic for me. I was in it. I'm living it. I'm steeped in black.
Okay, I found the tweet. It's really weird though to read one of my friend's jokes, because I've never heard him do this. It's just
I'm
a
just
tweet.
curious.
All right, here it goes. 10 years from now, you'll put on a jacket and find a mask in the pocket. Oh man, what a weird year that was, you'll chuckle to yourself. Then you'll pick up your machete and continue across the wasteland, keeping to the shadows to avoid the roving gangs of cannibal raiders.
Wow.
31.1 thousand retweets.
Wow.
1.7 quoted tweets. 122,000 liked.
Wow.
That's Casual Thursday on on Twitter. Go follow him, Peter Davenport.
Wow.
Great joke, but yeah.
Great. That tweet is like a novel in a tweet.
Oh, he's got several where it's just that thing. He tweets 20 times a day, and it's gold.
Really?
He's a very good Twitter follow.
All right. Good shout out. Good plug.
You're a very good Twitter follow also.
Thank you.
I got on Twitter to follow a lot of comedians and get a lot of jokes. Sometimes you don't get a lot of jokes. And,
No.
Your Twitter, at least, I always get a joke every day.
That's a rule of mine. Maybe I'll promote a show every now and then, but it's all jokes. And no hey, we got to help the trans Jews or whatever. It's just jokes. Let's just keep this funny.
Mm-hmm.
There's enough sanctimonious shit on Twitter. Let's try to have some fun.
What's your favorite joke all time?
Let's see. I mean, that's a big question.
Yeah, I know.
I know I talk about Norm Macdonald a lot, but he has a joke that blew my mind on Weekend Update. This is 20 years ago, but he said he did a joke about women being bad drivers, and they went, boo! And he goes, well, I'll have you know, that joke was written by a woman. And they all go, oh. And he goes, I'm kidding. We don't hire women. And I just love that joke because
it's amazing.
One joke about driving, then the boo, then the joke about a woman wrote it, and then the joke about, that's expert black belt writing. So I love that joke. But I don't know if that's my favorite joke. But
I love it.
I've heard you in a podcast too mention Norm's joke being influential on you. The one about being proud of your gay son.
Yeah, that joke's amazing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dave Attell's got some jokes where you're like, how did he think of that? I mean, Hedberg's joke, I'm against picketing, but I don't know how to show it.
Yeah.
That's like one of those brain twisty jokes. Groucho Marx has some great ones. I shot an elephant in my pajamas this morning. How he got into my pajamas, I don't know. Shit like that. I love that stuff. We went to Africa, took some photos of the native girls. They weren't developed yet, so we're going back next year, or something like that. I fucked it up.
I forgot you were big Groucho Marx
Love
guy.
Groucho. Funny guy.
Where'd that start?
My mom is so fucking out to lunch that when I was a kid, I was like, I love comedy. I want to see more comedy. Because this is before the internet, so you just had to wait till shit came on TV or buy a book. So I told my mom, I was like, I like comedy. And she goes, I gotcha. And she went out and bought a bunch of Marx Brothers movies, which I always thought I was going to get some Bill Murray, maybe some SNL, some Eddie Murphy. She went fucking 40s and got the Marx Brothers, and I was like, well, I'll put this on. You didn't have any options, and it was great.
It's either that or Buster Keaton, I guess.
He's great too.
Yeah.
He still holds up. Chaplin's still funny. Comedy doesn't always age well, but that shit is so good that it's still funny.
You said Out to Lunch. You're plugging your album, I guess, but also the album before that was called Don't Be Yourself, but you're in a diner. Is your newest special? What's the food tie-in that you're going to do?
The newest special is going to be called Soup to Nuts.
Oh.
Because I cover everything.
Is it really Soup to
Nuts?
Okay, cool.
I love that.
There is a food tie-in.
Yeah. And it's just, Soup to Nuts means A to Z. We got everything. So it's gay, black, white, trans, men, women, retarded people, autistic people, drunks. I cover everything. So.
Yeah, we got it nuts.
Yeah, there you go. Nuts. Exactly.
Yeah, and your Netflix, that airs next month, right?
Yeah, it comes
That's
out
exciting.
in November. Yeah, half hour. That's fun, and it's like a pandemic half hour, so it's kind of like, I had to throw it together.
Yeah,
but
I saw you like when the pandemic hit. You were like on the street doing stuff.
Yeah,
that I loved that. I really did, because I was just like, there was no opportunities at all. At like those first couple weeks, it was just like nobody's doing anything. It's
Nothing.
canceled. It might not ever come back.
Yeah.
I thought. Like,
Yeah.
So I was sitting there watching those videos of you doing that on the street, and I was like, this is encouraging that like not everyone has thrown in the towel. Like.
Well, also, I was doing sets every night, doing the road every weekend, and then just go cold turkey 0. So I was like, I got to do something. I got to get out of the house. I got to do something funny shit. So I called my friend who's a camera guy, and we just went out and made shit.
Was that Syracuse?
Yeah.
Ah, nice.
Big Sally. Yeah. So we did a Q&A on the street, and then no one had masks on. It was like the early days.
Yeah.
And-
Well, we're from Alabama, so we're just now starting to wear masks.
Yeah, you guys just got women voting.
You would think, like, being from Alabama, they would want to wear masks to cover up their lack of teeth, but they're just like, no.
Well, you got NASA now.
Yeah.
Which is a real wrench in the gears. Like, hey, you hillbilly. Like, what do you mean? I work at aerospace,
over in Huntsville.
Yeah.
Yeah, we drove by the Space and Rocket Center, and one of my friends was talking about the new theory. It was like a comic, and he was like, yeah, that's where the Nazis were. And it was like, I don't think they were at the Space and Rocket Center.
Well, Mark, we're over an hour right now, so
Oh, jeez.
I'm not going to kick you out, but whenever you want to get out of here.
Well, if you got some questions, I'll answer.
I have one other question for sure. I know, have you heard, I know you are trying to invest a little bit and
Yeah.
have maybe talked about cryptocurrencies a little bit. Have you heard about Dogecoin? Or
I've heard
SHIB?
about it.
Well, those are coins based off dogs. Have you considered making a cat coin with Greg?
Wow, what a question.
I feel like you could meme that into success, maybe.
Hey, that's not bad. Greg's a hit. I don't know
Yeah,
what it is.
I know.
My gal was like, we got to get a cat. I said, you're a lesbian. Shut up. And she's like, no, it'll be a good cat. I love a Maine Coon. I was like, whoa, don't say coon. And she got the cat, and I love it. It's huge. It's like this big.
Oh, I
It's
know.
fluffy. It's weird looking. It looks like a feral jungle animal. And I'll do a podcast, and it'll just sit on the table the whole show, and it's like great visual for a pod. And
My favorite subplot of Tuesdays with Stories now is seeing how uncomfortable
Yes.
Joe gets with the cat.
exactly, that just came out. That was just comedy. That just kind of blossomed out of nowhere. So
He's a natural.
people send in like Greg art, Greg posters, Greg shit, Greg videos. So yeah, Greg's a hit. I don't know how to start a coin, but
I don't either, but
all right.
just thought it was a good idea.
It's not bad. Not bad.
We don't really do much on this pod. We just talk about it,
Sure. I feel like did we get enough on the movie?
We can go back to it.
It's a movie pod, is it not?
Yeah, but we just like talk all movies.
Okay.
and,
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah, we're not too strict on
Well,
trying to make
great.
a review.
So at the end of the movie, Bill Murray like takes Andy out in the front yard, or Rita, whatever, and's like, let's live here. I can't imagine living in that place after having spent the same day
good
there
point, yeah.
for however long. That's crazy to me. I would be
Yeah.
like, let's go anywhere than hit this place.
Their
Yeah.
relationship's moving really fast too.
Yeah,
at
well,
least from Andy's,
for one day?
Yeah, from
her
Rita's
point of
perspective.
view,
yeah.
But also, I think the takeaway is like he loves her so much. He wanted her. He has her, so it doesn't even matter where he lives. That's what I think it's supposed to be saying. Because who the fuck would want to live in Punxsutawney?
Yeah,
Especially after being there for 900 years.
And just that saying, like, if everywhere you go it smells like shit, check your shoes. I feel like
Right,
that
right.
maybe.
Could you imagine how bad the open mic in Punxsutawney would be?
Ooh, but he'd be an amazing comic after 20
he'd
years. of-
crush. Or it would just be such like Groundhog Day jokes.
Yeah, that's true. It's all local. What's up with the piano lady, huh? How about the old guy? What's up with the kid in the tree?
I heard Harold Ramis said he wanted to end the movie originally with Rita being in a time loop,
Ooh.
and then she couldn't get out of it, which would have been pretty interesting.
Yeah, but she's so boring. I feel like anything with her would suck.
Issa Rae was on the Ringer podcast, or
Yeah.
the Rewatchables with Bill Simmons, and she ripped her a new one, Andy McDowell. She was like, this character is like obviously written by a man, like no frame of reference, no point of view, like just kind of. She goes when she wants to drink to world peace, she was like, "Girl, get out of here! Like that's so stupid." Like,
I know it's such a hack
like,
answer.
Yeah, like, what drink into world? What do you drink to?
I'd like to say a prayer and.
I drink to Allah. You know? But no, I mean anybody. I drink to more drinking. Let's keep it coming. Yeah, that world peace. Like, come on.
What a weird.
She
That was such a
sucks.
pretentious thing to say.
I know. I never thought about it that it was written by a man. I feel like maybe that's true, but I feel like a man would be. If I was writing that, I'd be like, "This. We got to give this guy a little pep." She's a bummer.
She just seems so plain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That was my only hang up with the movie. Even as a kid, I was like, she sucks. Why are we going after her?
I definitely saw other leading ladies way more where I was just like, oh my gosh, I get it.
But
Yeah.
in Puxatawny, though, it's either her or Nancy, I think. So
Nancy all day. I'm Team Nancy.
Yeah, I tend to.
a lot easier path, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Well, how are we going to get this whiskey to
So
the New York?
we're going to send you all this stuff.
Okay.
We'll box it up and send it, and I'll put, the whiskey in something. I'll wrap it up like with bubble wrap and tell them it's a snow globe. Yeah, tell them it's a snow globe, baby.
Beautiful. And send it to Gotham Studios. And we'll put it in the studio. We'll put all the shit up on the walls and stuff.
Perfect.
In view.
So we gave Sam the Patrick Ewing.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
we
this-
love
I
Patrick
actually
Ewing.
Recently, too, won y'all's caption contest. I'm a Patreon
Hey,
member of
come
We Might Be Drunk.
Are you wearing the underwear?
No, I'm not. I got some sheath. I haven't converted yet, but I put them on and it was like, I'll wear them some other time. It'd be weird to be like interview you in the underwear that you sent me. I thought.
But I'm going to send you some stickers, too. If you wanted
Yes.
to throw one up on the wall, that'd be sick.
Bring it on.
One thing I was going to add in the movie, though, it's shot in Woodstock, Illinois, and the puddle that Bill Murray walks into, at this point in time, they have like a plaque where it's like, this is where Bill
that's
Murray
great.
stepped. So if you're ever in Woodstock.
It's a
Illinois,
doozy.
too.
Yeah.
We
Oh,
can't
yeah.
Alabama that. It's Illinois. There's
Oh,
no
yeah.
like you don't say the S.
What'd I say?
Illinois.
It's
Illinois.
I've
I've
said
got
100
friends from
words
Chicago.
wrong.
They're like, for the love of God,
Yeah.
Alabama. It's not Alabama's.
I had to let
they
it go.
rip me a new one all the time.
That was in Illinois. I didn't know that.
They still
I didn't know it was said that way.
Yeah.
they still have the Bill Murray stepped here plaques
Yeah.
in the town, and Bill Murray was bitten by the groundhog here.
Ah,
you know that he got
that's
bitten
great.
by the groundhog.
I heard that. Yeah.
that was like that sucks.
Yeah, I know, right?
Like especially considering he was already like difficult to deal with, and the dang thing's
Right.
biting him. Harold Ramis just like, this is great.
Is there anything that you think if you could relive every day like that you're like, oh, I wish they would have done this in the movie? I know Groundhog Day really explores like every nook and cranny of that, but like, is there anything you're like, oh, you should have tried this out? Or
Oh yeah. Well, he tried to kill himself. That was fun.
Yeah, and
Jumping
robbing a
off the
bank,
building.
that's
robbing a
great.
bank. That's great. The riding on the train tracks. The toaster in the tub is great. The piano is great. I wish he would have done more skills. I guess he had the card. The cards in the hat was something.
there's a
Did you catch
deleted
them? They
scene.
said- Did you catch in that scene with the hat where he told her to be the hat?
Yes.
Which is like Groundhog Day, or which is
Oh.
like be the ball.
I didn't think
Right.
about that.
Right.
Interesting.
Be the ball. Oh
Be the
yeah.
ball, be the hat. It's a slight tip of the hat.
Little Caddyshack.
There were some deleted scenes where he goes and basically hustles people playing pool.
Oh, really?
And they're like, no, I'm pool's not my game. I bet sports. And he's like, okay, well, I'll take New York plus 16. And he lists like every single.
Oh, that's great. See,
Yeah,
I
it
would
was
have liked
funny.
more of that, but I guess that
And there's
doesn't
one
really-
scene where he just goes by all the ice sculptures with the beaver or the groundhog, and he's just chainsawing every one of their heads off.
Still better than what's the one? The new one.
Palm Springs.
Yeah, still
Oh,
better than
yeah.
Palm Springs.
Oh yeah,
No doubt.
Palm Springs is great. I
It's
love
fun.
Andy Samberg.
It had a unique twist.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
good in its own right. It was fun, and it
Sure.
happened in the pandemic, which
Sure.
we were all kind of living Groundhog Day
Yeah.
a little bit. So it was very fitting. The timing of Palm Springs couldn't have been better.
No, and it shows that we're all pieces of shit because we had every day to do nothing, and none of us got better at anything.
The girl in Palm Springs, Christina or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
I see her. I could like.
She was better than
She
Andy.
she makes more sense to me when you're like, okay, I get it. Like she's got it going on. Like,
Yeah.
I kind of think she's so much cooler than Andy.
Way cooler, and funnier.
But
Andy stinks.
that's
the name of the episode.
Yeah, Andy sucks.
All right, I gotta pee. How we doing here?
All right, well, we'll get out of here.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up. We'll take the note from Gio's.
I can pee and come back.
Nah,
if you want to pause it.
No, I think you've given us enough time. We really appreciate it. You're so generous, Mark.
No, this is great. I mean, the gifts. You guys are generous.
Well, Mark, thanks for being here. We really appreciate it, man.
Hey. Thanks for having me. This is a great touch. Praise Allah.
Oh, wait, do you want to plug anything?
Oh, yeah. Watch out to lunch. Check out my Netflix. Tuesdays with Stories. We might be drunk. Queef it up, folks. Thanks for having me, boys.
Thanks for being here.
I'm on a wee-wee.